and other sections of the Hindu community have been placed outside the Hindu community itself by propagating the theory of the Aryan invasion. Indian academia, dominated by the Marxists, have successfully placed a significant section of the Hindu community outside national borders. And this is not something peculiar to India. This Aryan invasion theory was a colonial construct. It is a white Christian construct. And they have played this game in North America, where they have had this ridiculous Bering Strait theory, which said that the Native Americans, whom they almost exterminated through genocide and Christian colonialism, were themselves migrants from elsewhere. That is to say, they propagated the Aryan invasion theory here because the intellectuals among the Hindu elite who were in the forefront of resisting colonial invasion, the colonial administrators turned the argument back at them saying, you yourselves have come from outside, we have come a little more recently. To justify the genocide of the Native Americans, the white colonial research which came out of Harvard and Smithsonian placed the Native American population outside of the North American continent, and they said, you people came here several centuries ago, maybe, but you are as much migrants as we are. There is no such thing as a Native American population. You are a migrant, we are a latter-day migrant. Udayan Nambudriji in the previous session said, how could EMS Nambudripad have gone running to the Soviet ambassador when his homeland or motherland or the Matrubhumi was being attacked? You must understand, Islam, Christianity and communism, which was a virulent reaction to Christian capitalism, none of the three ideologies or philosophies subscribe to the concept of homeland, motherland or Matrubhumi. These are aggressive, conquering ideologies. They believe all territories are open for conquest. It is only the Hindus and Jews who are born into their faiths on a territory which they call their own, who have the concept of Matrubhumi, who have a concept of homeland. The other three ideologies or philosophies do not subscribe to home. So by placing a significant section of the Hindu community outside national borders and by declaring that Dalits and tribals are not part of the Hindu community, the academia, Indian Marxist academia, has fragmented the Hindu consciousness. This was success number one. They have propagated the untruth that the Indian civilization has always been pluralist. This concept of pluralism, please understand, is a Western colonial Christian concept. Christianity also spread by the sword. Today, the developed Western nations may have succeeded in branding Islam a terrorist religion and the Western Christian, white Christian nations as the defenders against terrorism, but let's not forget, Christianity also spread by the sword. It was also intolerant. With the advent of democracy, which is also a Christian construct, when political Christianity had to accommodate people of other ways of life, and when Christianity devised other weapons of conquest, like evangelization, they made pluralism a virtue in their nation states. Hindu Dharma has always believed or has always subscribed to diversity. We don't need this Christian colonial concept of pluralism inside India. We have always been diverse. Pluralism, please understand, is multiculturalism, which is the new term for pluralism in Western democracies. This pluralism or multiculturalism is accommodating the indigestible elements of your society who refuse to become a part of the mainstream. Those elements which do not consider this territory to be their Matrubhumi, those elements which do not subscribe to Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, those that insist that they will live as indigestible elements, but they seek accommodation within the broader diverse parameters of Hindu Dharma, these are the pluralist elements. And when white, Christian, colonial, Western democracies promote the concept of pluralism, this is for the non-white, non-Christian democracies like India, whereas they are rejecting multiculturalism in their own countries. The Australian Prime Minister is saying, subscribe to the Australian culture. The British Prime Minister is saying, subscribe to the British culture. Australian culture, American culture, British culture, please understand, is white Christian culture, whether Catholic or Protestant. And immigrants and migrants who seek citizenship or residency in their countries are demanded, it is demanded of them that they have proficiency in the English language and that they subscribe to the broad cultural values which are rooted in white Christianity. And this pluralism, they want India to accept as an integral part of Indian polity, and this subversion, it is this intellectual subversion which has launched Sonia Gandhi into the forefront of Indian polity. I personally consider the presence of Sonia Gandhi in Indian polity as much as an affront to my sensibilities as the mosque in Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura. It is an affront to my sensibilities, to my Hindu sensibilities. This is success number 2. The third idea that they are propagating is the concept of South Asia. This concept of South Asia, which has no legitimacy, is a political construct with its origins in American think tanks, where they seek to subsume. Please understand one thing. If there is one thing that both Islam and Christianity are afraid of, it is Hindu nationalism. Hindu nationalism poses the biggest conceptual threat to both Islam and the evangelical church. The third idea that they are propagating is the concept of South Asia, where they hope that India's territorial borders and her Hindu identity will be subsumed in the larger Muslim-dominated region of Pakistan and Bangladesh. When they say South Asia, I don't think they have Bhutan and Sri Lanka in mind. When they say South Asia, they primarily mean India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. The most subversive act undertaken by Indian academia is the kind of history that they have written for us. It is a defeatist history. It is a history which says that the Indian nation was invaded upon hordes and hordes of people, and that they emasculated Indian society, that Hindu society was weakened because of them, putting us in a defeatist frame of mind. But is this true? This is not true. I have one of the most brilliant papers compiled by Dr. M.D. Srinivas of the Center for Policy Studies in Chennai. And look at what he's saying. It was the Hindu community. Islam had already overridden Europe, Africa, and large parts of Asia. But Hindu community kept off the Islamic invaders who could not get hold of foothold even in India between 600 and 1200 AD. Islam could not get a foothold here. And which were the Samrajas and Rajas which had held them off? The Chalukyas, the Rashtrakutas, the Karkotas of Kashmir, the Rajputs. They kept Islam away